All right, Circle Zentangle Part 1. All right, first thing you're going to do in Photoshop is create a new document. If you do not have Photoshop, you are using an alternative program such as GIMP or Photopea. For this assignment that you are going to create, you're going to name it first initial, last name, Circle Zentangle. It is going to be 14 inches by 14 inches. Please make sure it is on inches. Your resolution should be set to 300. RGB is color and white. You're going to click create. With this assignment, what we're focusing on is using the path function for the pen tool. So I'm going to zoom out so I can see my whole canvas, and I'm going to go to my ellipse tool. I'm going to make sure that it is on path. Okay, do not use shape. And when you use the path mode for your shapes or your pen tool, you always have to create a new layer. Remember, the shape mode would always create a layer for you. This one will not. You have to make your own layers. So your first layer is going to be a shape of a circle. Remember to drag and hold shift. If I were to just make my circle and press enter, it will disappear. So please make sure that you create your circle, and before you press enter, you want to go to your brush tool. We need to set up the brush tool in order to use the path. Okay, make sure it's on the one that says 1, 2, 3, that the hardness is at 100, and your size is 10. So then I'm going to go back. Make sure your color is black. I'm going to go back to the ellipse tool. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to stroke path. Make sure it's on brush, and that simulated pressure is unchecked. We don't want it checked. And then you're just going to click OK. All right, now it's not quite centered, so I'm going to try to move my circle, but as you can see, if I move my circle, the selection, that blue line, stays in place, but the black line does move. So if that's annoying to you, make sure you press enter when you're on the ellipse tool. All right, rename your layer. Remember, stay organized. And the next thing you're going to do, because we're creating that Zentangle, we just created the defined space. We're now going to create the strings. The requirement for this assignment is to create at least 3 sections. So in order to make sure that there's no gaps, okay, that's a huge requirement, is you need to zoom in and make sure your anchor point is on the edge of your defined area. And you can divide up this space any way that you want. I'm doing curved lines, so remember, in order to do that, you want to click and drag. Okay, zoom in to make sure I'm on my defined space. And I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to stroke path. Okay, everything should already be set from the previous time, and I'm going to click OK. All right, press enter, and then again, I'm going to create another string, new layer, rename it string 2. Okay, now I can start right on the string that I already created, or I could go from edge to edge. That's completely up to you. But again, this anchor point needs to make sure that it is starting on a line. All right, and I'm just going to do another curved line. Again, you can have more than 3 sections here. Okay, and I'm going to zoom back in and make sure that there's no gaps. Okay, you can only manipulate your line before you stroke. Right, so remember, you can hold down Control to select your anchor points or your handlebars to manipulate it and make it better, make it the way that you like to see it. Right, then again, right click, stroke path, click OK. All right, so here's an example. If I try to pull my line out because I wanted to move it out farther, the blue line's only going to move, not the black line. So if you wanted that to happen, you need to back up a step and alter the blue line before you add the stroke. All right, so I think I want to add one more line. Obviously, I've already hit my requirement. I have 4 spaces, but I always feel within art or creating art, you want to have an odd number of spaces. All right, so string number 3, remember, new layer first before you start using your pen tool. Zoom in to start on a line. And I'm going to decide where I'm going to go with this. Not quite sure. Remember to zoom in, zoom out is Control minus and Control plus. And then right click, stroke path. Then click OK and press enter. Alright, so now for saving, to save this part 1 and submit it onto Google Classroom, you want to make sure that you create a new folder. Okay, we still need to stay organized even though we're not in school. So you want to go to your documents, wherever that is on your computer, and you want to create a new folder. So here for a Mac, this is where I would find my new folder, and I would rename it Zentangle. Okay, and then I can exit out of this. Go back to my Photoshop, and then I'm going to go to File. Go to File, and I want to go to Save As. All right, I want to save this as a JPEG to submit, but I'm also going to label this Part 1. All right, because I want to stay organized, like I said, so I want to be clear on what my titles are. All right, and I want to find my folder that I created called Zentangles, and then I'm going to save it in there. Once you're done saving it as a JPEG, you also want to save it as a PSD. Now, I kind of already did this, but what you would do is you would just go to File, Save. Okay, it'll give you that option, Save. And if you haven't actually saved it yet, it'll ask you, is this what you want to call it? It'll be called a PSD. Let me just do something to my document so you're able to see that screen. I think it will tell you. All right, so you'll go to File, and then it will give me the option to save. All right, and again, when you click Save, it's going to automatically save it as a PSD. All right. Email me if you have any questions, but this is what you're submitting for the first part of your assignment.